What's up, world? Okay, so my name is Ness. Thanks for coming by. Today, I am so excited. First of all, welcome to July, the best month in the whole world. Right now, I consider it the best month because we're in 2020 and we know craziness is happening in this year, and we've come to the second half. So all of us that have survived and are doing good, kudos. That being said, July is my birthday. Not only my birthday, but a lot of people that are very important to me. This month is her birthday, like collective birthday of so many wonderful people that are so important to me. So yes, it's a beautiful month. And then there's excitement. I'm in a mix of excitement and a mix of a lot of thoughts. Like the book I read today is like, wow, is a wow book. I don't know what wow means these days because someone actually asked me a question and said, does it taste wow? Anyway. Anyway. This book is amazing. It's called Growing Up African in Australia by Maxine Beneba Clarke. I really hope I got that right. She's from the Carrabian. Okay, in case you don't already know, we're back to reading African literature again. So, but this month, like the month of May, I did a lot of Nigerian authors. I think the only non-Nigerian author I read was Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. But I want to try and expand. I want to go outside Nigeria this month. I don't know if I'll be able to keep up, but I'm going to try to expand outside Nigeria. Like, read from other places, from the Caribbeans, and then I don't know whether I'm even going to go to the African American people or something. I don't know yet, but I'm trying to see if I can read more other African literature, this thing. So this lady, she's from the Caribbean and she's Australian, sorry. So basically this book is a collection of I think 34 stories of different people that either moved, that's they themselves, they moved to Australia, like maybe when they were 4, when they were younger, some people when they were older, or they are descendants of people that moved moved to Australia from Africa. Wow. Okay, first of all, my mind, I thought you guys, I like books that make me want to read more. It gets me curious. First of all, how many of you knew that Australia was basically like a, let me not, I don't think that's the right word, but let me put it in quotes, dumping ground. Basically, how Australia became what it is today was that for a period of time, a lot of prisoners, literally a lot of prisoners were brought into, as in they didn't know where to keep them. I think somewhere in the UK, in the West, there was no space to keep prisoners. They collected them and dumped them on the island called Australia. For a lot of people that don't know Australia, what I know about Australia, there are very few people I know that live there, that's Nigerians. For a lot of you that don't know anything about Australia, Australia is very far. Like, everybody that tells you about going to Australia is far from everywhere. Australia and New Zealand, they are just in this place, way somewhere. Do you understand? So basically, a lot of people were basically dropped there, and that included even black, that's African criminals. So a lot of criminals were just dropped there, and that's how the country actually became what it is. We know about the Aboriginals. That's another people and I want to read about. The Aboriginals are the people that are called, they are the Native Australians, and just like the Native Americans or the Native Americans, they are not as in power of their land as they should be, as the white man is. But basically, so there's this lady, I'm talking about this now because one of the stories was about a girl. The title was The Whitest White Girl. That one was one that stuck out, one of the ones that stuck out to me the most. The girl is like, when I say the whitest white girl, she's white, like her skin is white. She's a white somebody, right? She's very white. Her whole life is white. Her mother is white, her father is white, blah blah blah. But one time her mother decided to go through their whole genealogy thing, look for their family, their heritage and all that, and finds out that I think has 7 generations before her, that's her grandfather from 7 generations before her was actually one of the African slaves that were dropped on the island. And apparently he's actually very popular, he's kind of like a big name when they talk about the black whatevers, and she found out that she was related to that guy. And it's just wow. To me, it's a lot of, I'm just thinking, okay, so I had to read more about the history of Australia and read more about the Aboriginals, read more about people that were moved there, who their stories are. Anyway, so the stories got me, some of them made me very sad. Sure, a good number of them made me very sad because a lot of them were refugees. And I think one of the major things that a lot of us don't know, or might not know, personally, me, I don't know, let me not say a lot of us, me personally, I didn't know that racism was quite a big problem in Australia. I used to think that maybe we had more to do with the things that we're exposed to. We just assumed that a certain kind of racism existed in the UK and maybe they said the US. But the racism in Australia is pretty bad. A lot of these people were refugees from the likes of Somalia. Some were Egyptians though, but Somalia, South Sudan, Ethiopia, a good number of them. And Australia actually like ran a refugee program where they moved a lot of these people to them. So over half of the stories there were from people that fled war in Africa, either as a child with their father, or sorry, with their parents, or they themselves as grown-ups. So they just fled and came. Even I think one about a pair of twins that came from Zimbabwe. So a good number of them were like these stories, you know, and like they leave their country, what they know, their life. Some of them actually talk about, like, I think one was around 8 years old when she left her home with her younger brothers, and you know, it's basically the way they left. They packed things, kept them in the house, thinking, okay, that, you know, we'll come back to this, and then they left and they never came back. And a lot of them talk about how they are still dealing with the war even till now. Some people talk about how they fled 17 years ago. One particular lady, she said 17 years ago we fled the war, but the war never fled us, never left us. So it's just it's very sad. It's a lot of, you know, I think there was one I was listening to. First of all, I have to tell myself I'm never going to listen to a poem in audio anymore. It was an audio book on scribd. I'm never going to listen to a poem in audio because I was like, seriously, there was this one that, you know, it was a guy. Okay, first of all, before I even get into that story, I found that the Muslim blacks had more terrifying stories of adapting to Australia or of racism than the non-Muslim Muslim black. And they were mostly men. You know, so when you hear men actually bear their hearts out talking about how adjusting was so hard for them and the way they were treated. I mean, one particular guy had an opportunity to go to a dentist, you know, and the dentist literally started laughing at him and calling him names. And, you know, the names that they call the black people there are pretty colorful, like, you know, black dog, burnt monkey, well, the N-word, the nigger that we know. So, and as people as young as 10 years are calling other 10-year-olds that name. It's just, wow. You know, you come from a place where you're a certain way and, you know, you're having the time of your life, and then suddenly you have to leave, and you live to this place that you assume is supposed to be better, and you go there and you're treated so horribly. So you're caught in a limbo. Anyway, let me tell you the story of the guy I was talking about. He talked about how, I think he's talking about how it was in a poetry form. That's how he told his own story. So his parents had fled Sudan for Australia, and you know, they got into the refugee program and somehow made it into Australia. You know, they're happy that they are good, but then the man starts having, that's the father, starts having some issues dealing with this thing. So it's like the trauma, like he kept on saying, trauma is a time traveler. Trauma is a time traveler. So it's like for years the man became very violent. He was sick mentally, and you know, it affected the way all of them learned how to deal with him. Once he started acting drama, everybody knew what to do, how to run away, where to go and hide. The mother took most of the brunt. The mother gets beaten, she gets bloody. Trauma is a time traveler. I'm like, I was walking when I was listening to that thing. Suddenly I stopped and I just started wailing because it was just too sad to listen to. So that's it, the book is just like, I think the book is a beautiful eye-opener as to the things that, I mean, but that's what books are supposed to be anyway. They open your eyes to things that you're totally oblivious to on a normal day. So I really liked this book. This book is beautiful. Maxine is doing such a good job, and the woman is like, she's an amazing writer. She has written several books. Like I was looking at her book list. She has written several books. The woman is a fierce writer. There's such a thing, but she's very she talks about racism in Australia. She tries to address it and figure out what can be done and all that. But there's something I really wanted to address. I guess at this point I'm addressing my brothers and sisters. By brothers and sisters, I mean Africans that are outside the country. Those of you that went, and you know, you've married there and you have your children there. I have noticed that a lot of us have traveled and decided to cut severe relationships with the family. A lot of the stories I read, you would notice that these people are happy to leave their home because their home is in trouble. But where they go to, they're not really at home. They are not settled. I don't know if that makes any sense. They're not settled. They don't really belong there. Not only don't they belong there, they are treated very badly. Like even the police. One particular guy talked about the police when he was 15 years old. He was shoved to the ground and beaten a lot, and then he tried to take it up and talk about it, and the thing was swept under the rug. These people are lost. That's what I'm trying to say. These children are lost. And there's a lot of misunderstanding. I think that, you know, there's if young people can talk to the older people, like if parents can get to a point where they can sit down and listen to their children when their children talk about issues that are going on, it will be easier. We live in a different time. Just like how your parents do understand you, it's likely you might not understand your kids, but the difference is that you actually have an opportunity to talk to these children. For those of us that are outside the country, I feel like, now I don't know anything about living outside the country. I've done my own small bit of traveling and all that, but I've never actually like lived. I've never stayed outside the country for more than, let's say, 2 months or something. Most times when I travel and I come back. So the when you're there year in year out, you have your children deny who they are. They try to kill who they are to become this other thing that they are never going to be. By the way, that's where the major issue is. They're never going to be this thing, this ideal. One guy talked about how he always felt like, okay, if he worked harder and he made more money, bought a beautiful house, lived in a beautiful neighborhood, he'll be treated better. And after all that, he still wasn't treated better. He was still the black man, and he was treated accordingly. So it's like you don't have to teach them the language, because I know that I'm talking about language one, because it gets harder for a lot. But some of us that grew up in Lagos, I met people that don't speak their ethnic language. They don't know how to speak their traditional language. Speak English. Personally, I think if you can, honestly, take out time. It's smarter to actually take out time. Learn the language, learn it with your children. If you have your children, no matter how old they are, just sit down. Thankfully for YouTube, there are several places you can go to and find. Speak, just at least let them get to a point where they don't float. Let them know that they are part of something bigger. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Show them the picture of their family tree. Ask your grandparents, ask your parents, who's your mom? Who's your mom's mom? Right? Create a big family tree. Let them know that they are part of something. Because from this book, what I'm gathering is that those that have no idea who they are, it affects the way they address a lot of the situations, like the racisms and the other issues that they have in life. Let them know that they are part of a bigger thing. And desperation is a bastard. Desperation are bastard. Do you understand? Desperation is what happens when you start feeling like you're alone and there's nobody with you. When people feel like they are part of a bigger, I don't know how to call it, circle of life, a bigger tree, it affects the way they carry on in life. It affects what they allow to happen to them, or what they don't allow to happen to them. The reason why, I mean, they say, none of us know. Even God said in the Bible, it's not good for man to be alone. You know, my own personal explanation to that is not just talking about the man, the male. He was talking about man, human race. It's not good for you to just be alone, only you. Do you understand? But the thing is that we're doing this thing where we travel and we cut off from our families. Some people are like, because I cannot come back to Nigeria again. So I'm not even saying that you must come, but let your children know that there was another part of there were other people that are part of their own family. Do you understand? Show them who their grandmother is. If you have pictures, show them their grandmother, show them their mother, show them their auntie's uncle, auntie's cousin. You know, let people know, because I'm telling you, desperation makes people do the craziest things. They take on people that they have no business being with. You end up being friends with people that are beneath you. Yes, people are beneath you. Mentally, people are beneath you. People that will treat you like crap, they are beneath you. You're supposed to get up and walk away, but you will not get up and walk away because you feel alone. Anyway, that's what I have to say. That's something I think that, you know, I'm going to figure out ways to, like, try not to cut off your family members. I know that, you know, family, especially in Nigeria, I'm hearing a lot of younger people like my age and a little younger, are talking about how, you know, their family members are toxic and all that. Honestly, you don't have to be around them all the time. It's your family. But do not cut them out totally. Don't wake up one day and say, for the next 3 years, you don't talk to your family. Let your family know that they have a family. Let your children know that there are other people. Let them know that they are part of a bigger picture. There are so many, as in, they can wake up one day and come back to wherever they are from, and they would likely find at least one family member, but they have to at least know who they are and talk to them. It affects, you know, things like gangs, cults. That's what causes that actually does cause a lot of those things. I'm not saying that's the only thing, but that's it. It's a sense of belonging. It is not good for man to be alone. So they try to figure out ways to fit in. Most times they come up with tertiary and non-helpful ways of linking together. I have overtalked today. Guys, I love you. If you're on script, find Growing Up African in Australia. This book is beautiful. I think, like, it's wonderfully eye-opening. You will cry, you will laugh. There was a girl that tried to play football who really sucked at it. That was very funny. I don't know, it's really nice. The stories are there. I said there's something stories. The stories are endless. You will just stay. Okay, yes, I have one regret with this book. I wish I had read the book slowly. I started the book on Monday and I ended on Thursday. It pained me. I wish I had read the book in a month. I feel like it's a book that you want to read one story a day or 2 stories in a day. Just take your time and read it and read it. Welcome to the month of June, guys. If you haven't already, please hit me a like, right? Subscribe, ring the bell, share to people. We're trying to get ourselves to read more. And if you haven't already, please download Scribd and check this book out. It is beautiful, okay? Welcome to the beautiful month and have a best weekend. Bye-bye.